Now we study the new concept and most important concept in this chapter, moment of inertia. Now so far we have studied comparatively the linear motion as well as rotational motion. Now in linear motion we have a displacement x. The corresponding displacement in rotational motion is angular displacement theta. In linear motion we have velocity, linear velocity v, and correspondingly we have an angular velocity in rotational motion omega. In linear motion we have an acceleration a, correspondingly in rotational motion we have angular acceleration alpha. In linear motion we have a momentum p, and correspondingly we have an angular momentum L in rotational motion. In linear motion we have studied force F. Correspondingly in angular motion we have studied moment of force or torque. Now we have analogy in linear motion as well as in rotational motion. But so far we didn't find one analogy for mass in linear motion. So in linear motion we have a mass, but we don't know so far what is the analogy of this mass in rotational motion. That we are going to study in this concept. For that one, let me consider a rigid body having a n number of particles. Consider the ith particle. Let mi is the mass of the ith particle having a linear velocity vi. If the rigid body is rotating with an angular velocity omega, then we will work out what is the kinetic energy of the ith particle. The linear kinetic energy of the ith particle is given by k is equal to half mi vi square. That is linear kinetic energy formula. We know half mi square. For the ith particle, we are writing it as mi vi square. And also we know the relation between the linear velocity as well as the angular velocity, and that is given by linear velocity is equal to omega into ri, where ri is the distance of the ith particle from the axis of rotation. Now if I substitute this one here, the kinetic energy of the ith particle is given by half mi. In the place of vi, I am substituting omega ri whole square, and further simplification leads to half mi omega square ri square. Okay. Now rearranging the terms, I am going to get the kinetic energy of the ith particle is equal to, it is half mi ri square and omega square. I am keeping omega square on the other side. Now this is the kinetic energy of the ith particle. If you work out what is the total kinetic energy of the entire rigid body, then capital K, the total kinetic energy of the entire rigid body, is obtained by using the summation sign. That is kinetic energy of all the n particles. So that can be written as I is equal to 1 to n mi ri square into omega square. since angular velocity of all the particles is the same in rotational motion, now that is taken outside. Therefore, kinetic energy is given by, here is half omega square into sigma I is equal to 1 to n mi ri square. Now this term I will replace it by a new concept called moment of inertia I. Therefore, k is equal to half m omega square into I, or I can write k is equal to half I omega square, where I is equal to, what is I? We have introduced a new term, that is moment of inertia, and is given by sigma I is equal to 1 to n mi ri square. So here mi, mass of the ith particle, ri, distance of the ith particle from the axis of rotation. Now this k is equal to half I omega square. This is the kinetic energy of a rigid body in rotational motion. K is equal to half mv square. It is the kinetic energy. It is the kinetic energy in linear motion. So therefore, we are getting an analogy for mass in linear motion. Correspondingly, we have an analogy, that is moment of inertia. Therefore, the mass in linear motion or translational motion is related to moment of inertia in rotational motion. So, whatever the role played by mass in linear motion is played by the same in rotational motion by moment of inertia. Therefore, moment of inertia is given by this very important relation, I is equal to sigma I is equal to 1 to n mi ri square. Or if I expand this one for the n particles, I am getting m1 r1 square, m2 r2 square, plus etc. mn rn square. That is the moment of inertia. Now from this expression we define moment of inertia. Moment of inertia of a body is the sum of product of mass of the individual particle and square of its distance from the axis of rotation. Therefore, moment of inertia of a rigid body about an axis is defined as, it is the sum of product of masses of the individual particle and square of their distances from the axis of rotation. So that is the definition of moment of inertia. Now here moment of inertia plays the same role in rotational motion as played by mass in linear motion. Now moment of inertia, it depends on the distribution of mass, shape and size of the body. It depends on the distribution of mass, shape and size. Now let me take one example. Now let me consider a ring. We have a ring, circular ring. Okay. So its mass is capital M. And we are taking the axis perpendicular to the plane of the ring. Now this R is the radius of the ring. Now we are going to calculate what is, we are going to work out what is the moment of inertia of this circular ring about that perpendicular axis. Now that is directly given by the formula is equal to m r square. Now I is equal to m into r square is the moment of inertia of that circular ring about an axis perpendicular to the plane of the, passing through the center and perpendicular to the plane of the ring. That is a well-known formula, I is equal to m r square. Now if you take the same ring, I have taken the same ring. Now I am changing the orientation of the axis. I am taking the axis along the diagonal, along the diameter. I have chosen the axis along the diameter. Now if you work out this one, the moment of inertia is found to be m r square by 2. Okay. Similarly, if you work out the moment of inertia about an axis which is tangential to the circular ring, ಆ ರಿಂಗಿಗೆ ಟ್ಯಾಂಜೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಆಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡು ನೀವು ಮೊಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನರ್ಷಿಯಾವನ್ನು ವರ್ಕೌಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಫೌಂಡ್ ಟು ಬಿ I is equal to 3m r square by 2. We are going to get that one. We will see how we are going to get these different formulas. For an axis perpendicular to the plane of the ring, m r square passing through the center. For an axis along the diameter, any diameter, it is m r square by 2. For an axis tangential to the circular ring, it is 3m r square by 2. So here we are going to know that the moment of inertia of a body is not constant. It is not only depending on the mass, not only depending on the shape and size, it is also depending on the position of the axis of rotation, the orientation of the axis of rotation. It is changing. Moment of inertia if a rigid body is going to change with respect to the orientation and position of the axis of rotation, as you have seen in this case. But in the case of linear motion, mass is constant. In linear motion, mass is a constant, but in rotational motion, moment of inertia is not at all a constant. It is depending on the orientation of the axis of rotation. So hence, the moment of inertia, it depends on mass. Second one, shape and size of the object or the body. It depends on mass of the body, it depends on shape and size of the body, and depends on axis of rotation. Depends on axis of rotation also, and also depends on position and orientation of axis of rotation. It depends on the position and orientation of axis of rotation. So therefore, moment of inertia is not at all constant. It is having different values for different position of the axis or orientation of the axis. Since moment of inertia is different, we are going to use one more concept, that is called one more parameter that is called radius of gyration. One more parameter we are going to study, that is radius of gyration. And it is denoted by the letter K, radius of gyration. Now let me define first that one. Before going to define, let me take the example. Now we have a circular disc. We have a circular disc, okay, whose mass is m and radius is r. Now let me calculate its moment of inertia along the perpendicular axis. The axis is perpendicular to that disc. Therefore, moment of inertia of this circular disc is m r square divided by 2. That is the standard formula. Now let me choose a point mass here, one more point mass here. Point mass is here, I have chosen. Now whose mass is equal to mass of the circular disc. It is having the same mass m. Clear? Now let me choose an axis. From the axis, this mass is rotating. It is at a distance k. We have chosen a point mass whose mass is equal to mass of this circular disk. And we have chosen an axis at a distance k from this point mass such that the moment of inertia of this circular disk, that is equal to mr square by 2, should be same as the moment of inertia of this point mass rotating at this distance k. If that is the case, then this k is defined as radius of gyration. Okay, ಒಂದು ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದರ ಮೊಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನರ್ಷಿಯಾ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆಯೋ, ಅದರ ಮಾಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆಯೋ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಮಾಸ್ಗೆ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಇರೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಒಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡು ಆ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಸು ಒಂದು ಆಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರೊಟೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದು ಆ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಸ್ ನ ಮೊಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನರ್ಷಿಯಾ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ ನ ಮೊಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನರ್ಷಿಯಾಗೆ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಆಗೋದ್ರೆ then the distance of the point mass from the axis of rotation k is called as radius of gyration. Therefore, let me define radius of gyration. It is radius of gyration of an object about an axis is the distance of the point mass from the axis of rotation whose mass is equal to mass of the object and moment of inertia is equal to moment of inertia of that object. Now here, what is the moment of inertia of this point mass? I am going to get I is equal to mass multiplied by square of the perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation, mk square. Now comparing these two, what we are going to get? In place of k square, we are having r square by 2. So therefore, k square is equal to r square by 2 or the radius of gyration for this circular disc. It is equal to k is equal to r by root 2. Okay. Now similarly, use this concept for these two cases. For a circular ring of an axis which is passing through any diagonal, ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ we are getting k is equal to r by 2. Same thing we are going to get. Similarly, if you compare for this formula, now here I am going to get I is equal to m k square for radius of gyration. Now in the place of m we are having m, in the place of k square we are having 3 r square by 2. Okay, so if I use that concept, therefore k square is equal to, from that expression I am having 3 r square by 2 or k is equal to is square root of 3 by 2 r, and this k is called radius of gyration. Now the SI unit of moment of inertia. Now moment of inertia is given by I is equal to sigma I is equal to 1 to n mi ri square. Okay. Now what is the SI unit of mass? Therefore SI unit of this moment of inertia is SI unit mass is kg and meter square. Kg meter square is the SI unit of moment of inertia. What is the dimension of moment of inertia? So the dimensions of moment of inertia, mass m L square. M L square is the dimension of the moment of inertia. So with this moment of inertia, we are going to study one important concept, that is flywheel. What is that flywheel? The property of this moment of inertia is used for the rotational motion of the automobiles. In machines, that is automobiles or industrial machinery parts, we are using a large disc having a larger moment of inertia. We are using a large disk having a huge mass and huge moment of inertia, and that large disk we call it as flywheel. ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಟೈರಿಗೆ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಕಾರು ಅಥವಾ ಬಸ್ಸಿನ ಟೈರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಮೆಟಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ದಟ್ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಫ್ಲೈವೀಲ್. ಆ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ ಹೆವಿ ಮಾಸ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಟು ದಿ ಟೈರ್. ಬರೀ ಟೈರಿಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ ಹೆವಿ ಮಾಸ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. Why this is so? What is the significance of this flywheel or importance of this moment of inertia? Now this flywheel avoids jerk in circular motion. That means it is going to avoid a sudden change in rotational motion. If a vehicle is traveling, it is moving, so the wheels are also rotating with a particular speed. As and when the brakes are applied, this flywheel, because of large moment of inertia, it gradually slows down, not suddenly slows down. It gradually slows down and it gradually changes the rotational motion, not suddenly changes the rotational motion. If it suddenly changes, then there is no smooth movement for the passengers. ಸಡನ್ ಆಗಿ ಒಂದು ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಹಾಕಿದಾಗ ಪ್ಯಾಸೆಂಜರ್ಸ್ ಒಂದೇ ಸರಿಗೆ ಮುಂದ್ಗಡೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಬಾರ್ದು, ಸ್ಮೂತ್ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಿರೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಮೋಷನ್ ಅಥವಾ ರೊಟೇಟರಿ ಮೋಷನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಸ್ಮೂತ್ ಆಗಿ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಹ್ಯೂಜ್ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ದ ಫ್ಲೈವೀಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಇಟ್ ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಸಡನ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಇನ್ ರೊಟೇಷನಲ್ ಮೋಷನ್. ಹಿಟ್ಟಿನ ಗಿರಣಿನಲ್ಲೂ ಒಂದು ಮೋಟರ್ ರನ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಫ್ಲೈ ವೀಲ್ ಅನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸ್ವಿಚ್ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಹೈ ಸ್ಪೀಡಿಗೆ ತಿರುಗಲ್ಲ ಅದು. ಇಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ವಿತ್ ಸ್ಲೋವರ್ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಗ್ರಾಜುವಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರೊಟೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಹಿಟ್ ಆಚೆಗೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಇನ್ ಫ್ಲೋರ್ ಮಿಲ್. As and when the switch is offed, when you switch off the machine, that flywheel not suddenly stops, comes to rest. It rotates and rotates and rotates and gradually comes to rest. That means it is going to avoid a sudden change in rotational motion and gives smooth movement in the case of vehicles for the passengers. That is the significance of this moment of inertia. Now we will study two important theorems of moment of inertia. They are, one is perpendicular axis and another one is parallel axis. Since we know that moment of inertia, it depends on orientation of the axis of rotation. In order to find the moment of, if you know the moment of inertia about one particular axis, we can easily work out what is the moment of inertia in different directions by using these two theorems. In that, take the first one, perpendicular axis theorem. Now this theorem is useful for an object which is having a planar lamina, a planar body or a lamina which is having only length and breadth or the radius, but thickness is negligible. For those planar laminas, we are using this perpendicular axis theorem. Now this theorem states that the moment of inertia of a planar body or a lamina about an axis perpendicular to the plane of the body is equal to sum of its moments of inertia about two perpendicular axes concurrent to the perpendicular axis and lying in the plane of the body. The moment of inertia of a planar body or a lamina about an axis perpendicular to its plane is equal to sum of its moments of inertia about two perpendicular axes taken in its plane and it is concurrent to the axis of rotation. Now for that one, let me consider a planar lamina. I have a planar lamina here. This lamina doesn't has any thickness, negligible thickness. It has a length and breadth. Now I have to consider an axis which is perpendicular to the plane of the body. Now here let me take this as the z-axis which is perpendicular to the plane of the body. If I further continue, this is the axis of rotation. Okay. Now I have to calculate what is the moment of inertia of this planar body in this perpendicular axis. If you have a planar body like this, then this pen represents the perpendicular axis. Okay, in the same manner. In order to find the moment of inertia for this one, I have to consider two more axes in that body. Now this is the x-axis and this one is the y-axis. I have to find the moment of inertia about the z-axis. For that one, I have to choose two perpendicular axes in the plane of the body, that is x-axis and y-axis. If I-axis is the moment of inertia of the planar lamina in along the x-axis, and Iy is its moment of inertia along the y-axis, so then this perpendicular axis theorem states that the moment of inertia of this planar lamina about this z-axis, perpendicular axis, z-axis is given by sum of these two. Sum of its moment of inertia about two perpendicular axes, that is ax, ix plus iy. Now therefore iz is equal to ix plus iy. Now this is perpendicular axis there. Let me give an example. Now consider the ring previously we have studied. For this ring, we have the moment of inertia along this direction. Now that is I is equal to m r square that we have studied earlier. Okay. For the same ring, if I want to calculate what is its moment of inertia about the diameter, in this case, all the diameters are equal. Therefore, if I choose Ix, the moment of inertia along the x-axis, and Iy is the moment of inertia along the y-axis, since the diameters are equal, those two are same. Therefore, if I use the perpendicular axis theorem, then what is the moment? We know the moment of inertia along the perpendicular axis, that is mr square. Now I have to calculate what is the moment of inertia along the x-axis, along the y-axis, that is nothing but along the diameter. For that one, I am using this perpendicular axis theorem. Iz is equal to Ex plus Iy. Now Iz here in this case we are having mr square. Since these two are equal, I will write it as Id plus Id. Now D stands for along the diameter if I choose. Therefore, mr square is equal to 2Id. R along the diameter is equal to mr square divided by 2. So therefore, the moment of inertia of this circular ring about an axis along its any diameter is mr square divided by 2 that we have got. Clear? Like this we are going to make use this perpendicular axis theorem. Similarly, we study parallel axis theorem. Now this theorem is applicable for any object, not a planar object, any object which is having length, breadth and height, that is 3-dimensional. Now this is for 2-dimensional and this theorem is for 3-dimensional. Now this theorem states that the moment of inertia of any object about any axis is equal to sum of the moments of inertia of the object about a parallel axis passing through its center of mass. and product of its mass and square of the perpendicular distance between the parallel axes. That is the statement. Okay. Now let me consider any object. Now let me consider an axis. Let me take this as z-axis. I have to find the moment of inertia of this object about the z-axis. For that one, I have to consider one more axis which is parallel to this z-axis, and it should pass through the center of mass of the body. If I take this is the center of mass of the body at the point O, now I have to consider one more axis that we taken it as z-axis. Let me take this as z-axis. It should be parallel to the z-axis, and this z-axis should pass through the center of mass. We know the moment of inertia passing through the center of mass as Iz. Now consider the body of mass m, whose moment of inertia about its center of mass passing through the z-axis is Iz, that we know. Now I have to calculate what is its moment of inertia about the z-axis which is parallel to z-axis. Now its distance is a. Then according to this parallel axis theorem, the moment of inertia about the z-axis is equal to sum of the moment of inertia of the body about a parallel axis passing through the center of mass, that is Iz, plus product of its mass. What is the mass of the body? It is m, and square of the distance between the two parallel axes, that is ma square. So by using this formula, we can find the moment of inertia, and the theorem is called as parallel axis theorem. Let me give an example, then we will work out. Now consider this case, that is we have a ring, circular ring. Along its diameter, I am having the moment of inertia. Therefore, moment of inertia about the diameter is m square by 2. That is we have worked out previously. Now I have to calculate what is its moment of inertia parallel to this diagonal axis and which is at a distance of radius r. Okay. So this is the diagonal axis through which moment of inertia of the circular ring is known. Now this is a parallel axis. Parallel to this diagonal axis, I have to work out what is the moment of inertia along this direction. Therefore, if I take this as I dash, let me take the moment of inertia as I dash there. According to parallel axis theorem, I dash is equal to the moment of inertia passing through its center of mass, that is we know I plus mass of that circular ring m, perpendicular distance between the parallel axis. What is I? Moment of inertia passing through its center of mass, that we know, that is m r square by 2 plus m r square. Therefore, I dash, that is moment of inertia about a tangential axis. Tangential axis is 3 by 2 m r square. So like this, we are going to make use of this perpendicular axis theorem as well as parallel axis theorem to find the moment of inertia of objects in different orientation, axis of rotation, orientation of the axis of rotation. Now we will find What is the moment of inertia of regular bodies about different axes? For that one, if you take the first case is a ring, circular ring that you have already studied, just recall it. For a circular ring about a perpendicular axis, what is its moments of inertia? M r square. Then what is the expression for the radius of gyration? So that is equal to mk square. Therefore, k is equal to r here for a circular ring about the perpendicular axis. For the same circular ring about the diameter, what is the moment of inertia? About the diameter means diagram like this. Now I have the axis is along the diameter. That just we have worked out. Its moment of inertia is equal to m r square by 2. Now what is the moment, what is its radius of gyration? Now comparing this one, what we are going to get k. So k is equal to r by root 2. Okay. For the same circular ring about an axis tangential to the diameter, to the circular ring. Now we have a circular ring here. Now I am taking the axis here, tangential to the circular ring. Then we get I is equal to 3 mr square by 2. Okay. That can be worked out by using parallel axis theorem. Now comparing this one with mk square. So what is k we are going to get? So square root of 3 by 2 r. That is the radius of gyration in the case of this k. This is the first object. Now let me take the second object, a circular disc. Instead of ring, I am using a solid disc. This is the circular disc. Okay, disc. Now along this axis, perpendicular axis, what is its moment of inertia? I is equal to mr square divided by 2. For the same circular disc, okay, now axis is along the diameter. Axis is along the diameter. Now what is the moment of inertia here? This can be find out mr square divided by 4. Okay. Now comparing this with respect to radius of gyration. Therefore, what is k here? I am getting r by root 2. What is k here? I am getting k is equal to r by 2 here. Now for the same circular disc, the third case, the axis is tangential to the disc. Now this is the disc. Now axis is tangential, either this side or this side. If it is tangential, then moment of inertia is equal to 5 m r square divided by 4. Therefore, what is k then we are getting at? Root 5 by 2 r. That is circular disc for the case. Now third one is a rod. We have a rectangular rod like this. We have a rectangular rod like this. Now we are considering the axis which is passing through the midpoint of the rod, passing through the midpoint and perpendicular to the length of the rod. If that is the case, then we get the moment of inertia is equal to m L square divided by 12, where m is length of the rod, m is mass of the rod and L is length of the rod. For the same rod, if I choose the axis at passing through one end of the rod, if the axis is passing through one end of the rod, then the moment of inertia I am going to get is m L square by 3. that can be calculated by using parallel axis theorem. Okay. Now what is the expression for radius of gyration here? The radius of gyration k is equal to L by root 12. So here k is equal to L by root 3, radius of gyration. Similarly, third, this is next, fourth object. Let me consider a cylindrical object, hollow cylinder. If I consider the next object as a hollow cylinder, axis is along the axis of the cylinder. Then moment of inertia is given by I is equal to m r square. For the solid cylinder, if the cylinder is solid one, what is the radius of, what is the moment of inertia if it is a solid cylinder? Now we are taking the axis along the same, that is axis of rotation. Axis of the cylinder alle tagondre, its moment of inertia is going to be m r square divided by 2. Okay. Next, let me take a sphere, a solid sphere. I am choosing a solid sphere. This is a solid sphere. Now let me take the axis along its diameter. If I take the axis along the diameter, then its moment of inertia is going to be 2 by 5 m r square. 2 by 5 m r square. Now from these relations, now find out what is k. Now here k is equal to r. So here radius of gyration k is equal to r by 2 root 2. Now here becomes square root of 2 by 5 r. Like this we can work out the radius of gyration and also moment of inertia of some regular bodies. Now one note, the moment of inertia is given by I is equal to sigma, I is equal to 1 to n mi r square. Okay. So therefore, if I expand it, I am going to get m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square plus etc. mn rn square. Okay. So that is the moment of inertia. That is the moment of inertia. If the rigid body is having n number of particles whose masses are m1, m2, mn, and the radius are and perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation as r1, r2, etc. rn. Now, it can be shown that the radius of gyration is equal to square root of r1 square plus r2 square, etc. rn square divided by n. It can be shown that like that. Now, from this one, we can define the radius of gyration also as it is square root of mean of squares of all the distances of the particle from the axis of rotation. Once again, square root radius of gyration is the square root of mean of square of distances of all the particles from the axis of rotation. That is one more definition for radius of gyration.